Hey everyone, so today we're going to be talking about the GreenStalk Trellis. I'll be honest, I don't know if I am a fan of the name, but when I think of a trellis, I think of some large area that like lots of vines can climb up, like maybe like tomatoes or grapes and other things. But these are a bit smaller. However, they are a support system, so I'll give them that. Now, we're going to go over a couple of things. We'll go over the price, how to install them, when you may want to consider using the trellis, and also comparing it to the support system that you see on my GreenStalk right now. So I have 3 right here, so we'll be able to kind of compare them and kind of show you when you might want to consider using one over the other. So let's start with the price. So these are actually fairly affordable. These come in a 3-pack only. As you can see right here, they'll come exactly like this. And the 3-pack, I believe, is like $14 or $15. Compared to the traditional support, each one of these rings, so there's 3 in total that I have in the system. One ring goes around the entire system. Each one of those is $24. And a 3-pack would get you like around $60 or $70 because I think they discount them a bit. So that's a price standpoint already. That's a bit different. Now let's go to the installation. So I'm going to show you. Let me point you down. The spot that I'm going to install. So I'm just going to install it right here on this empty pocket just to kind of show you what it looks like. Whoops. So all you have to do is make sure that this is pointing outward, right? Because that's where your plants are going to be supported, or the vines will be supported. So you point it outward, you stick it in the pocket, you make sure that it is closest to the inner side of the wall, and this pretty much wedges in between the wall itself and also the soil, so it should be sitting right in between there. As you can see, that is just a very simple way to install that. Literally just goes in, you can just slide it right down. What's great is there is already a little bit of a little piece right here. So as you slide it down, this will touch the outer edge, and then that's where it kind of stops right there. So super simple to set up. Now, when might you consider installing one of these? So of course, if you have plants that could use some help with their support, that of course is a good idea, and especially if you have only 1 or 2 plants. So these are great for if you have a bunch of plants. Like I have a bunch of tomatoes on the lower levels, so these supports around the entire system make sense. But what if you only had 1 tomato? These could be fantastic because then you can just choose the exact pocket of where you need the support to be done, right? I could just be like, oh, I need some support right here, put it in right there and help it along. The second thing that it could be useful is if you have one of those screens that cover the entire system, what you can do is put it all along the top here. And as you can see, if I put it along the top, that's a great way to use it as a barrier so that the screen drapes over the system and not like leaning on your plants. So that could be another great way to use the system as well. In terms of when should you choose the trellis over the traditional support, I think the biggest thing are probably 2 areas. One, if you only have just a few plants, like I mentioned earlier, let's say you only had 3 plants that need support and they're all on different levels. Well, having this support system might be a little bit too expensive for that small task. Instead, you might just get a 3-pack of these trellises and then just put them in the spots you need. Maybe you have 1 plant right there. Let's say we move this one down here. So very mobile compared to the traditional support system. I do feel like The traditional support system can probably hold a bit more weight because it has more support on it, but that's probably another thing to consider. The other thing too that I like to mention is if you have plants that need support closer to the base. So for example, I have, let me see if I can get a good angle on this. I have a tomato plant right here on the bottom, and it's a little leggy on the bottom. So that could be a good candidate for me to put the support down here and having it support my tomato plants from the base versus waiting for it to get long enough to use the regular support. Here's another good example on the right there. That's exactly what happened with one of my other tomatoes. You'll notice that it kind of grew outward first, and then finally once it got long enough, then I could use the support system up here to help with the vines. But if I had a trellis, I could have used it in advance. So what I could have done was maybe something like this, and this could have helped it initially in the beginning. I know for sure that this would have been very helpful for me because I was constantly worried about the vines, and that would have been another great way to use the trellis. So hope this was really helpful. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. Have a good one. Bye.